There's a pattern in history that has destroyed every major superpower for the last 500 years. The same sequence, the same stages, the same ending, every single time. And right now, in 2026, the United States is following that exact same pattern, stage by stage, decision by decision. Almost like we're reading from the same script that collapsed Spain, Britain, and the Soviet Union. 3 empires, 3 complete collapses, 1 identical sequence. And here's what should stop you cold right now. America has already completed 5 of the 7 stages. We're not approaching the pattern. We're deep inside it. In 1590, Spain was the richest empire on Earth, gone within 80 years. In 1914, Britain ruled the largest empire ever built, gone within 40. In 1991, the Soviet Union ceased to exist in 900 days. Not from war, and from economic implosion. 3 superpowers, 3 collapses. Same pattern every time. Chai viewers, right now, honestly, do you think the American economy is stronger or weaker than it was 5 years ago? Drop your answer in the comments. We read every single one. This is the story of how empires die, why they always think they're different, and why the math says we're next. What stage do you think we're at? Drop it below before the next chapter. Let's go through the 3 examples that prove this pattern is real. Because this isn't theory. This is documented history. First, Spain. In 1530, Spain controlled more silver than any government in recorded history. 400 tons per year coming straight out of the Americas. The Spanish real was the global reserve currency. Every nation on Earth accepted it. Thus, Spain had the most powerful military on the planet. By 1590, Spain was defaulting on its own debt. By 1700, the empire was economically dead. The most powerful nation on Earth became a second-rate power in less than a century, and it never recovered. Second, Britain. In 1900, Britain controlled 25% of the world's land surface. The pound sterling was the global reserve currency. Every major trade contract on Earth was written in pounds. London was the financial center of the world. By 1945, Britain owed more than its entire GDP. By 1970, the empire was gone. The pound lost 80% of its value. The global reserve currency became just another regional currency. Third, the Soviet Union. In 1945, the USSR was a superpower. Nuclear weapons, global military reach, satellites in space. They matched America at every level for 45 years. In 1991, it ceased to exist. Gone in 900 days. 3 superpowers, 3 collapses, 1 pattern. When analysts mapped all 3 side by side, the sequence matched perfectly every single time. Which of these 3 surprised you most? Tell us in the comments. Economists who study long-term imperial collapse have identified 7 stages that every superpower follows before it falls. Not 6, not 8. 7. And they happen in the same order every single time. Stage 1 is expansion. The empire grows. Resources flow in faster than they flow out. The currency is trusted globally. Military power is real, not borrowed. Confidence is earned, not manufactured. Stage 2 is peak confidence. The empire starts believing it's permanent. Every single metric confirms its dominance. Military strength, currency demand, economic output. The evidence looks real, because in this stage, it is. Stage 3 is hidden imbalance. This is where it starts breaking beneath the surface. Debt starts growing faster than output. Asset prices and real productivity stop telling the same story. But nothing looks wrong from the outside yet. The system still performs strength while hiding weakness underneath. Stage 4 is early intervention. The system starts using tools to cover the imbalance. Interest rate adjustments, deficit spending, currency manipulation. These tools work short-term. They delay the crisis. But every tool used teaches the system to need the next one. The gap doesn't close. It grows. Hidden beneath the surface of what looks like stability. As Spain went through all 4 of these stages before anyone inside the empire admitted something was wrong. Britain did the same. The Soviet Union did the same. And here's what the data shows that almost nobody talks about. During stages 1 through 4, the system doesn't look weak. It looks strong. It rewards itself for looking strong. Leaders get praised for the stability. Markets respond positively. And that is exactly what makes Stage 5 the most dangerous moment in the entire sequence. The system didn't fail when it broke. It failed the moment it needed help just to keep functioning. What stage do you think America is at right now? Tell us below. Now let's look at the United States. No opinion here. No politics. Just the numbers. America currently carries $36 trillion in national debt. That's 120% of GDP. Interest payments on that debt alone are approaching $1 trillion per year. We're spending more on debt interest than on national defense. Let that land for a second. Every single year, we run a deficit. In 2024 alone, during a growing economy, during peacetime, the deficit was $1.8 trillion. We're borrowing money to pay interest on money we already borrowed. That's not a budget problem. That's a structural collapse happening in slow motion. Markets don't respond to economic fundamentals anymore. They respond to Federal Reserve announcements. Traders don't wait for productivity data. They wait for policy signals. The entire financial system has learned to trade the intervention rather than the actual economy underneath it. That's Stage 4 behavior. That's what a system looks like when it needs constant support just to function. Asset prices keep rising. Real wages keep falling behind inflation. The gap between financial wealth and actual purchasing power widens every single quarter. The numbers are public. The data is available to everyone. But nobody in a position of power is saying it plainly. The same tools Spain used. The same tools Britain used. The same tools the Soviet Union used. Different mechanisms. Same direction. Same destination. Stability built on intervention isn't stability. It's the last stage before the cracks become visible to everyone. If you were in charge of one policy decision right now, what would it be? Drop it in the comments. Here's where it gets serious. Because stages 5, 6, and 7 are where empires stop declining and start collapsing. Stage 5 is artificial stability. The system can't grow on its own anymore. It needs constant intervention just to maintain the appearance of confidence. Interest rates are managed not for economic health, but to keep markets calm. Liquidity gets injected not for growth, but to prevent panic. Stimulus gets deployed not for productivity, but to buy more time. And here's what the historical data shows that almost nobody talks about. Stage 5 doesn't feel like collapse. It feels like stability. Spain held Stage 5 for nearly 4 decades. Britain held it longer. The Soviet Union held Stage 5 for 15 years. During all of that time, ordinary people went to work, raised families, built businesses. They lived inside a dying system without knowing the system was dying. That's exactly where America is right now. Stage 5. Since 2020 alone, the Federal Reserve expanded its balance sheet by over $4 trillion. We printed more money in 2 years than in the previous 200 combined. That's not a sign of strength. That's Stage 5 running at maximum intensity. Stage 6 is confidence fracture. This is when trust breaks. Not the economy first. Trust first. A regional bank fails and the story spreads faster than the facts. A policy decision lands wrong and the panic cascades globally before morning. Small disruptions that the system once absorbed without incident now travel further and faster. The very interconnectedness that made America powerful becomes the mechanism that spreads the collapse. Stage 7 is reset. The currency loses reserve status. The debt becomes unserviceable. The military can't be funded at current levels. The superpower doesn't decline gradually. It restructures suddenly and permanently. Spain renegotiated. Britain renegotiated. The Soviet Union collapsed in 900 days. We're in Stage 5 right now. Stages 6 and 7 aren't theoretical. They're next. The pattern has never been wrong. Not once in 500 years. Stage 5, Stage 6, or already beyond. Where is America right now? Comment your honest answer. Let's talk about what Stage 5 actually looks like on the ground. Because it doesn't look like a crisis. It looks like ordinary life getting quietly harder. Small business owners across America are watching their margins collapse. Input costs are up. Labor is up. Insurance is up. But they can't raise prices fast enough because their customers are already stretched. The business is still open. Revenue is still coming in. But the math gets worse every single quarter. Slowly enough that no single month feels like an emergency. Fast enough that the destination is becoming clear. Retirees who did everything right, who saved, who diversified, who planned conservatively, are drawing from principle because fixed income can't keep up with real inflation. The official numbers say one thing. The grocery bill says something else. The utility bill says something else. The medication cost says something else. This is what Stage 5 looks like from the inside. Not dramatic, not sudden. Just ordinary life getting harder in ways that don't make headlines, but are felt in every household across the country. And here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. This isn't coming from one bad policy or one bad president. It's coming from the accumulated weight of a system that's been held up by intervention for so long that the intervention itself has become the problem. Every tool used to delay the correction makes the eventual correction larger. Collapse doesn't start at the top. It starts at the edges, where ordinary people absorb what the system can no longer contain. Are you feeling this pressure right now? Be honest in the comments. Here's the truth that every failing empire eventually confronts. And it's the same truth every single time. Systems don't fail because their leaders are stupid. Spain had sophisticated administrators. Britain had some of the most advanced economic minds in history. The Soviet Union had architects who spent decades building what they believed was a superior system. These weren't ignorant people making obvious mistakes. They failed because the system rewarded delay. Every time a painful correction was available, a real restructuring that would have reduced the imbalance and restored the foundation, the short-term cost of that correction was immediate, visible, and politically catastrophic. And the long-term cost of avoiding it was distant, abstract, and easy to push forward. So they pushed it forward. Every time. Because the system gave every incentive to delay and every disincentive to correct. America is inside that exact same incentive structure right now. Every politician who proposes real fiscal correction loses the next election. Or every central banker who tightens genuinely gets blamed for the market drop that follows. Every institution that tells the truth about the debt gets ignored in favor of whoever promises one more round of intervention will fix it. The system protects itself. Until it can't. And when it can't protect itself anymore, it doesn't fail slowly and quietly. It fails at the exact moment it can no longer appear strong to the people whose confidence is the only thing holding it together. The system doesn't fail at its weakest point. It fails the moment it can no longer pretend to be strong. Would you force the correction now or approve one more round of intervention? Tell us below. 3 empires followed this pattern: Spain, Britain, the Soviet Union. Each believed they were the exception. Each believed their power was permanent. Each believed the rules that destroyed others didn't apply to them. They were wrong every single time. Spain had more gold than anyone in history. It destroyed them. Britain had the most powerful currency ever built. They lost it. The Soviet Union had nuclear weapons, global military reach, and 45 years of superpower status. Gone in 900 days. America has completed 5 of the 7 stages. Military overextension, check. Currency debasement, check. Debt spiral, check. Loss of productive capacity, check. Social decay and institutional distrust, check. Stage 6, the loss of reserve currency status, is already beginning. BRICS nations are building dollar alternatives right now. Central banks globally are buying gold at record rates. Saudi Arabia is accepting yuan for oil. China and Russia are trading in their own currencies. The cracks are forming exactly where the pattern says they form. Stage 7 isn't a question of whether, it's a question of when. And when it comes, it won't be gradual. It'll be sudden. A currency crisis triggering a debt crisis triggering a political crisis. The superpower becomes a cautionary tale faster than anyone inside it believed was possible. Maybe America finds a way out. Maybe this time really is different. But the pattern has never been wrong. Not once. Not in 500 years. 3 times it happened before. The math says we're next. If this opened your eyes, subscribe to the Economic Records right now. Turn on notifications. When Stage 6 hits, you'll want to understand exactly what's happening and why. The answers are already written in history. We'll show you where to look. The Economic Records. The pattern doesn't lie.